Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Throwaway Barbie Doll from the Relationship Advice subreddit. And it says, my 29 female husband, 33 male, says I changed after having kids. But I think he liked me better when I was just his Barbie doll. Ugh. Hope he says, my nickname has been Barbie since I was a teenager. Back then, I was pretty, thin, tan, had long blonde hair, and my signature color was pink. I was involved in beauty pageants from the time I was a kid through my early 20s, and the nickname was first given to me by people I knew in the pageant world. Somehow, over time, more people started calling me that, and by the time I was in high school, everyone called me that. My husband was the Ken to my Barbie. In school, he was the popular guy, the prom king, and yes, he had blonde hair too and a perfect smile. Once we met and got together, which wasn't until I was in college, everyone started calling us Barbie and Ken. We liked being the couple. I mean, I always thought our relationship was deeper than surface level, but I admit I liked the superficial parts of being together too. I liked being that couple. It was like part of my identity. I liked the image of who we were and how we looked together. We just celebrated our 5-year wedding anniversary. Recently, I had 2 babies pretty much back to back. I got pregnant with my second when the first was under 6 months old, and they're 18 months and 4 months now. I feel like my entire sense of self has just disappeared. My days right now are basically feeding, washing, everything. Nap schedules that don't line up, and running the same load of laundry 3 times because I keep forgetting to put it in the dryer on time. I know that's all normal for having really young kids. I live in oversized t-shirts. In fact, the one I've been wearing for days is an old Christmas-themed shirt of my husband's. I don't fit into any of my old clothes. I'm like 3 pant sizes bigger than before. I've tried buying new clothes, but nothing looks the same on me anymore, and I'm confused about what looks good on me when I used to be able to wear anything. What really bothers me is the shift in how my husband and I interact. It's not like it's been big fights or anything like that. He eats dinner earlier now, usually standing at the kitchen counter or scrolling his phone. We talk less about anything personal. I don't think we really talk about anything personal anymore actually. It's all logistics, like who's going to run and get diapers. If I bring up feeling overwhelmed, he just says I should try and get more sleep. When? We sit on the couch together at night but barely actually talk. Nothing dramatic has happened. He still goes to work. He helps with the kids. He still says he loves me. But lately, he started saying things like I've changed since having kids. He says I'm more emotional, more critical, harder to talk to, and not like the person he married. He's probably right in some ways. I just can't help thinking it's more than that though. I feel like something changed in how he treats me when I stopped being the Barbie version of myself. Now I'm tired, messy, forgetful, behind on everything. I don't dress up, I don't wear makeup, my hair is never styled. I feel like I'm being seen and treated differently because of that. I don't know if this is just the normal adjustment period that would be expected for raising 2 babies under 2, or if there's something bigger going on. I'm really worried that it's a sign of something bigger that I just didn't see or didn't want to admit until now. I'm worried our relationship was always built on superficial things and an image and nothing deeper than that. This isn't even like a bad situation. It's difficult, but it should be a happy type of difficult. What would happen if we really had to go through something bad together in life? How do you tell the difference between just natural relationship changes after having kids and the idea that my relationship only worked when we were pretending to be these idealized versions of ourselves, like props for the other person? So OP was responding to a lot of the questions. One of them said, did your husband's behavior around your appearance or weight change after the babies? OP said he's on this new diet now himself. Not that he really had weight to lose, but it's all about the macros and fat to protein ratio and all that, and he's like obsessive about it right now. Sometimes he only eats 1 meal a day. He bought a new scale because our old one broke, and he keeps making me weigh myself. He also keeps suggesting changes to my diet I can make to lose a few pounds each week. I think he genuinely thinks he's helping me. I do miss that part of me. I guess I didn't realize how much of my identity was built around those parts. But for example, he's on this new restrictive diet all about counting macros and fat to protein ratio and stuff like that. He doesn't have weight to lose like I do, just a weird health thing he's doing. He bought a new scale because our old one broke and keeps making me weigh myself on it. He keeps suggesting ways I can lose a few pounds each week. I don't even think he means it in a mean way. He thinks he's being helpful, but something about it just doesn't feel kind and helpful. Oh, and he brags about basically having an eating disorder before, so... Someone says, how do you feel about yourself after becoming a mother? Opie says, I do miss those parts of me. I guess I didn't realize how much of my identity was built around those parts. And the weird thing is that I can't help but see it as I'm failing somehow. That I'm not good enough if I can't handle all of this on my own. I don't feel like I've been sitting here full of resentment towards him. I've just been upset at myself for not being able to handle everything and still be the old me. I admit that a lot of my identity and self-worth was, and to some extent still is, wrapped up in superficial physical things. There are just things that are more important to me now. I don't feel like I like myself as much now that I don't look like I used to. At least I know that's a problem, right? I don't think I realized how focused on all that stuff I was before. I wish we felt more like a team in this than we do now. I don't feel like I have a teammate. I don't know. I'm not afraid of him. I think I'm afraid of having to admit I can't handle it all, not being perfect, and so on. I know that's a me thing, not something he caused. I can't judge him for being image obsessed. I was too, and while those things aren't at the top of my priority list anymore, a lot of my identity was wrapped up in those things, and I still hold some of my self-worth in those things, and don't like myself as much now that I don't look a certain way. I can't admit I've been trying to do it all. I really don't feel like I've been sitting here brewing in resentment towards him. Some of my comments may seem that way, but it's not really how I've been feeling on a day-to-day basis. On a day-to-day basis, I'm more upset with myself for not being able to handle it all, and still look and feel and act like my old self on top of it all. Someone says, how involved is your husband in parenting and household responsibilities? Opie says, thrown himself isn't how I'd describe it. He helps. It's not like he's totally hands-off, but so many aspects of his life have remained pretty unchanged. His life has obviously changed, but not nearly as much as mine. He's still pretty much the person he was before, able to do all the same things he did before. He goes to work, goes to the gym, goes on 2-week-long work trips, still has time to take care of himself, is currently eating super healthy but just making all of his food for himself because it's such a restrictive diet that he says, I wouldn't want to eat it or have the willpower to only eat what he's eating. I'm like I'm lucky if I remember to eat breakfast or have time to eat something I pop in the micro for lunch. He still leaves most days before 6 AM so he can go to the gym, so that means I really get no help in the mornings. When he comes home, he does help with the kids, but not to the point where I can just be off for a few hours straight. We went to the grocery store together this week, as close as we got to a date for a while. He will grocery shop by ordering groceries for delivery, but even then, he can't just make the list by himself. I don't really know how to quantify it. He helps when he gets home from work, but it's not to the extent where I feel like I can be off duty for any amount of time. I feel like for me, the kids are now number one, and for him, he's still number one. I can take a shower, but being totally off for 1 to 2 hours? No. I'm talking 15 to 20 minute shower. 20 minutes when I decide to have the energy to shave my legs for the first time in 2 weeks. It's obviously changed his life too, but not nearly as much as mine. He's pretty much the same person as before, and I still think he's still number one priority in his life. He and his life have changed far less than mine have. He just went and got his hair cut the other day, went clothes shopping, decided to get his ear pierced on a whim, and I'm like, I can't even think of this stuff right now. I'm not saying I don't want him to take care of himself or feel as frazzled as I feel, but it's like he doesn't seem to understand why I'm not doing the same things he is. I've actually thought that sometimes he acts like he's my teenage son whenever I ask him to do something. Well, he let me sleep for 3 hours in the middle of the day today. Someone says, have you asked your husband to take on more childcare or are you afraid to? Opie says, I know. I've heard stories from some other women who are stay-at-home mums who say their husbands get up early before work and take care of the kids in the morning so she can get a little more sleep before she's on full-time parent duty, alone for the whole day. I don't think I could believe it at first. My car was in the shop 2 weeks ago. I was without a car all week. I had appointments 2 of those mornings. One of them was just a routine checkup appointment for our daughter. Normally, I'd do that solo. I even suggested just getting a rental car, but he said that was stupid and we'd go to the appointment together. He took me to both appointments I had that week. Towards the end of the week, he made a comment about how he misses his gym time because of me, and he quickly realized what he had said and tried to backtrack like, I mean, it wasn't your fault, it's fine. I can't really answer your questions though. I don't know the answer. Someone says, you planning to have more children? Have you considered divorce or questioned your choice of partner? Opie says, I don't plan to anytime soon. Our first baby was planned, the second was not. I'm on long-term birth control now. I don't want to get a divorce, but there have been times recently where I've wondered if I picked a life partner based on all of the wrong reasons. I wasn't thinking about finding a man who would do the laundry and the cooking and take the kids to the park before. I don't consider things that I probably should have considered, and I wish I had. I picked somebody based largely on stupid, surface level things. Someone says, "Do you think your husband is controlling, or are you afraid of him? Do you think your husband might be cheating?" Hope you replied saying, "I don't see him as controlling. I've never felt that way about him. I don't know. I'd probably be more worried if those were all new behaviors for him. None of it's new. He's always gone to the gym, always cared a lot about his appearance. He's had to go on work trips before, and I've even gone with him before. He didn't get some sort of totally new haircut and a completely new wardrobe or anything. It's not different. If he had never done any of that before or suddenly had a completely different look, I'd be suspicious." Someone said, "Why did you end up with 2 children so close together in age?" I didn't mean to have 2 under 2. I think it'd be so much easier if we just had 1. Maybe things would at least feel more balanced since I went back to work after having my first. It never felt like this when there was just 1. Even when I was pregnant and taking care of just 1 baby, I was still able to feel somewhat like myself. Still took care of myself and my appearance. I'm not saying I don't want my daughter to be here. My youngest is a girl and the oldest is a boy. I love her and I don't blame her for the situation. The first pregnancy was planned and then a surprise a few months after he was born and I was pregnant again. We wanted more than 1 kid, but several years apart. When it happened like it did, we didn't consider ending the second pregnancy. We just decided, okay, our plans would change and we'd knock having babies out all in one go. I don't know what drugs I was on to make me constantly think and say having 1 more can't possibly be that much harder. I truly believed it wouldn't be as a big of adjustment as going from no babies to 1 baby. I was wrong. And I'm crying just typing all of that out because I really do love my daughter and I don't regret having her. One more question that says, "Has your sex life changed after having children?" Opie says, "I know I'm only 4 months PP, but I thought I'd easily snap back. You hear about all these other women who lose all the weight so quickly with breastfeeding. I thought I was young and it'd be easy. I'm 30 pounds heavier than normal. I can't believe how much 30 pounds changes your entire body and how I'm 3 pant sizes bigger now. I just miss being able to go to the store and order stuff online and always knows the size that fits me. Always know the type of clothes that look good and flatter me. I feel lost now. We still have sex, obviously with 2 babies, one being only 4 months old. It's not happening like it used to. He's not selfish in bed. He's never been that way, but he's still wanting to see all of me and give me oral sex and things like that. But I'm not in the mood for sex very often. It happens maybe 1 to 2 times a week." So Opie did update the post and says, "I posted just 3 days ago, but I want to give an update because I took the comments to heart and decided to stop wallowing myself online and just come out and tell my husband how I've been feeling. I'm still getting comments on that post today, so I wanted to share what's changing. On Father's Day, we did some special stuff for Father's Day. He even semi-broke his diet for the special occasion, but only semi. In the afternoon, both babies were napping at the same time, which doesn't happen often despite my best efforts. He really wanted to have sex. I used to have sex all the time and still did pretty frequently after our son was born. My son is the oldest at 18 months and my daughter is 4 months. It only happens maybe 1 to 2 times a week now because I'm just tired and never in the mood. He has not been rejecting me sexually, and when it does happen, it's actually one thing he's not selfish about. If anything, I'm trying to turn it into a quickie and he wants to do everything to me. If I have free time, I want to sleep, so I resisted for a while, but he promised me he'd give me an amazing orgasm, which would help me relax. I figured, okay, it was Father's Day, but he better make good on his promise. We actually had fantastic sex and was so relaxed and sleepy afterwards. One of the kids woke up and he told me to sleep and he'd handle it. Ended up sleeping for 3 hours straight in the middle of the day and it was divine. I woke up from that nap and realized I should be getting these naps every weekend. I should be getting more breaks and time to myself. I don't know why it's been so hard for me to voice that. I know that part of me wanted him to realize it himself without being told. I wanted him to offer or step up or whatever you want to call it. I didn't want to have to tell him. I was probably being too stubborn about that. I woke up from the nap and when I went out to the living room, I told him immediately that I need a nap like that every weekend. He said, okay. I said, no, I'm serious and he needs to promise me that he'll let me sleep for a few hours uninterrupted every weekend day when he's home. He said, okay, like it was nothing. Then I just kept going. I told him I need more help. Not outside help, as I'm not comfortable with people coming into the house and cleaning or taking care of my kids when I'm there. I want him to do it. I want him to either wake up in the morning and do some chores before he goes to the gym, even if that means he has to wake up at 4 a.m. now, because I'm up at that time. I don't even want to go to the gym, but if he wants me to look like I used to, I'd like to be able to be up at 4 a.m. riding the Peloton when he does chores or takes care of anyone who is awake and needs feeding or changing during that time. He just said, I can do that, like it was nothing. I asked him if it's nothing, why am I having to ask him for it? He said he just didn't think of it. He's not a mind reader. I didn't expect him to be a mind reader, but how hard is it to comprehend that your wife, who is with your 2 babies all day long, might need a little more help? Yesterday, when he got home from work, I was dressed and ready to go. He walked in the door and I told him I was going to get my hair done and I'd be home whenever. Didn't know how long it'd take. Give him a rundown on who had last ate and had been changed and napped and when and by. He did have to text me once or twice to ask where some things were, but everything was fine. I decided that I don't need to keep trying to be the same me with the same look I've had for years. I've got about 7 inches cut off my hair. I haven't had my hair done professionally in over 6 months, and I used to be there all the time, like every 2 months. I just wanted something that actually looks styled and cute. Plus, it's still below my shoulders, so it's not super short, but easier to maintain now. I walked in the door and he was like, "You look like a mum." It didn't feel good, but at the same time I just told him I am a mum, and if he doesn't like it, that's tough. He's the one who made me a mum. He said he was just joking and he liked it. It looked really good. I don't know if I believe him, but I like it and that should be all that matters. Tonight I warned him that I wanted to have a serious discussion when he came home. I made him put his phone down and sit down and look right at me. I told him 1, I need him to do some chores and I'm making him a chore chart like he's a little boy. He said that was okay, and he admitted he's like a little boy and needs to be told what to do. Ooh. I told him that whatever sort of wacky diet eating like 500 calories a day he wants to do is whatever, but he needs to start helping prepare food for me because I'm not eating well, I'm not losing weight, and I want to lose weight. I told him I don't really want to step on the scale in front of him though. He said I was the one who kept going on about being fat and wanting to lose weight. He's not wrong. I already told him that tomorrow we're having a serious conversation when he gets home from work. He had to work until 7 tonight, so I knew he'd be too tired and likely right in the middle of my son's bedtime routine when he got home. So tomorrow is when I'm going to really put it all on the table. I'm not ready to say anything like I'm considering divorce or will divorce him if XYZ doesn't happen. That'd be a lie. But if you were me, what would you say? And what would you ask of your partner? So Opie answers a whole bunch of questions after this as well. I'm just going to try and summarize it as best as I can. She clarifies within the comments that she doesn't think her husband is deliberately refusing to help. She just genuinely believes that it just doesn't occur to him to notice what needs doing. And she's kind of accepted that she may even need to make him a chore chart, which she hates because in her view, an adult shouldn't be needed told to clean the house or care for his own kids. And she'd much rather prefer a partner who notices these things on his own, or at least asks what needs doing. She goes on to explain that she's not asking husband to manage a diet or lose weight for her. What she wants is just time. Her husband getting up at 5 a.m. every day to go to the gym because that's important to him, but she never gets uninterrupted time to herself. She's looking after the 2 babies all day and basically just asking for a little bit of time back herself. Opie also pushes back against some of the commenters who said she was nagging or overwhelming him. She says they haven't been having constant serious conversations at all, and if anything, she hasn't communicated enough because she kept trying to handle everything herself, and she admits that when they planned their family, they never really discussed how parenting duties would be divided, and after the surprise second pregnancy, she convinced herself she'd be able to do it all alone. And finally, after all of this, she's cautiously optimistic, but not completely convinced. Her husband immediately agreed to help more, but she isn't sure whether his actions will match his words, and she's willing to give him a chance, but after months of carrying the mental load herself, she knows promises alone aren't enough. And after all this, I didn't feel completely convinced either. I mean, Opie saying about changes and stuff, but a chore chart shouldn't be necessary for a grown adult who lives in the house and is an equal parent. Nobody's expecting him to read minds, but noticing the washing basket is full or the bins need emptying or something like that, or that your partner who's looking after 2 babies all day might need a little bit of time to herself. And the bit that made my jaw drop was him laughing and saying he's like a little boy who needs to be told what to do. I don't know how he thought something like that would come across, but I was just like, ugh. It will be interesting to see how this one pans out, but what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's have another story. Our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole from Lost Sugar Pie, who says, Am I the arsehole for not wanting a relationship with my mum's stepkids? My parents divorced when I, 19 female, was 4 and shared custody. Had a good relationship with both until I was around 11, when my mum started dating her now husband. He had younger kids, and from that point on, it felt like my mum only cared about them whenever they were around. She always said they needed more attention because they were younger, and every time I brought it up, she'd promised to do better. She never did. There are a lot of moments that hurt. She'd ignore me while taking them shopping, brush off things that mattered to me, and constantly put their needs ahead of mine. One time she completely forgot about plans we had together and left me waiting for almost 2 hours. Another time during a family day, she spent the entire day focused on them and barely acknowledged me. Whenever I got upset, I was told I was jealous, immature, or needed too much attention. It felt like my feelings didn't matter as long as her stepkids were happy. This went on for years, and I ended up resenting both the situation and the kids. I know it wasn't really their fault, but I never formed a bond with them because of how everything played out. Now that I'm older and no longer live with my mum, she keeps asking me to come visit them. Recently she told me they miss their big sister and love me. I told her I wasn't interested and asked why I should have a relationship with them when she spent years ignoring me in favor of them. She said none of it was their fault. I said maybe not, but that doesn't change how I feel. She keeps calling and texting, and every time I ask the same thing, why should I? I know the kids aren't to blame, and maybe some of my responses have been petty, but I honestly don't want a relationship with them. Am I the arsehole? The mum turning around to OP and saying it wasn't their fault. That's true, but she's answering the wrong question because OP isn't blaming the kids. She's asking why she should force a sibling relationship with people she never had the chance to bond with because her own mum put her on the back burner all the time. You can't neglect one child for years and then suddenly expect them magically to feel like a big sister once they're an adult. And a commenter says the same, not the arsehole. You don't have to have a relationship with anyone you don't want to for any reason. Opie says thank you. I think that's something I've been struggling to accept because my mum keeps acting like I'm obligated to have a relationship with them, no matter how I feel. I know they're not bad kids, but I can't force feelings that just aren't there. After everything that happened growing up, being around them only brings back a lot of hurt and resentment. A commenter says it's your right to decide who you want a relationship with. I totally understand your view. Your mum may want a babysitter. Opie says thank you. I really appreciate that. For a long time I felt guilty for not wanting a relationship with them because everyone keeps focusing on what they want and how they feel, but very few people seem to care about how all this affected me. One more commenter who says to OP, not the arsehole, your experience mirrors mine, except sisters, not step-siblings. In my late 20s, she tried repairing the relationship. I had to tell her nothing will erase my childhood, so please stop trying to. She finally accepted it, but it took a few years before she did. OP says, thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry you went through something similar. Honestly, one of the hardest things for me is knowing that even if my mum suddenly understood everything tomorrow and gave me the apology I've wanted for years, it still wouldn't change what growing up felt like. I think that's what she doesn't understand. She's so focused on the relationship she wants now that she ignores how we got here in the first place. Reading your comment makes me feel a little less alone, and it's helpful to hear from someone who's been through something similar and came out the other side. So OP did update the post and says, female 19, didn't think I'd be posting again so soon, but something happened and I genuinely cannot stop thinking about it. So here we are. A few days earlier after my original post, I got an Instagram message requested from my stepbrother. He's 15. We don't even follow each other, so it went straight to request, and I almost deleted it because I assumed my mum put him up to it. But then I read the first line. I know you probably don't want to hear it from me, but I wanted to say I'm sorry. I put my phone down, picked it back up, read it again. He said he'd been asking my mum for a while why I never came around anymore. She kept telling him I was busy, doing my own thing. You know how it is. A few weeks ago, apparently he pushed harder and they got into a real argument about it. That's when she finally told him the truth. I had told her years ago I felt invisible after she remarried, that I felt pushed aside. He asked her directly if it was true, if she really cancelled plans on me, if she really ignored me because of them. She said yes. She told him she thought I'd understand because I was older and they needed her more. I read that and just sat there, because for years, every time I brought this up I was told I was jealous, dramatic, too sensitive, that I was trying to make her choose. She made me feel like I was imagining things, and then she turned around and admitted the whole thing to a 15-year-old boy who just wanted to understand why his big sister disappeared. We talked for almost an hour. He kept apologizing and I kept telling him he had absolutely nothing to apologize for. He said he always thought I just hated them and never knew why. That part broke me a little honestly because I never hated them. I hated feeling like I lost my mum and they got to keep her. He seems like a genuinely sweet kid, and I feel so guilty that he spent years thinking his big sister wanted nothing to do with him, when I was really just a hurt little girl who aged out of my mum's attention. Now here's the part that made my blood boil. After my mum found out we'd talked, she texted me saying I shouldn't be dragging the kids into adult issues. I didn't drag anyone. He reached out to me. She still hasn't apologized, not once. Not a single word directed at me acknowledging any of what she admitted to him, but she had time to text me about dragging kids into things. I don't really know what my relationship with my mum looks like going forward. That part is still messy and I'm not ready to untangle it yet. But for the first time in years, I'm not angry at my step-siblings. I'm just sad. Sad that we all grew up being fed different versions of the same story and none of us knew it. So, what do you think? Not gonna lie, at the end of this one it had me a little bit teary because the saddest part was none of the kids were the problem. OP thought her step-siblings had basically replaced her, while the step-siblings thought their big sister just didn't want anything to do with them, which is heartbreaking, isn't it? They're all missing each other because the mum fed them completely different stories instead of owning her own fucking mistakes. And even after admitting the truth to her son, she still couldn't apologize to OP. Instead, she accused her of dragging the kids into adult issues. And honestly, after that, I think I would lose all hope in that mother ever apologizing and just move on from it. Maybe if OP's up for it, they can build something with the step-siblings outside of the mother, because I don't think nothing good can come of that. Me anyway. But what is your thoughts on this situation? How would you deal with it if you was OP? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time, as always, is bloody incredible. Thank you so much, and hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.